Yep. Say your name.
Okay, the first thing we want you to do is to introduce yourself. My name is Ann McElvey. What is my name? Ann McElvey Spalding, and I am the 6th of Pope and Emma McElvey's children. And I have to tell you that I was the very best little sister. I was not the best little sister because I did my brother's chores, or because I did their homework, or because I gave them things. I was the best little sister because I cried. I cried, Lord knows, when they hit me. I cried when they called me names. I cried when they looked at me funny. I cried when they touched me, and I cried when they didn't touch me. You know, I'm not touching you. And I had, oh Lord, yes. And I never understood it until I had a friend who was the oldest of 4 girls. And she told me the reason is because it's just so much darn fun. Now, y'all know that we grew up in Alabama in the 50s and 60s, and it was a different world. We had freedoms that we would not even consider giving children today. Mom and Daddy sacrificed a lot so that we could go to St. Bede's Catholic School. Mama went back to work when Pope went to college, the oldest boy, and they hired this amazing woman to watch us. Her name was Florence, and Florence loved us. She took care of the house. She would start supper. She took care of Kitty because Kitty was not in school yet. And she treated us so well, and we loved her. Well, on the day that the story is taking place, Bob and I were actually riding the city bus home from school. Just the 2 of us. I must have been about 6, 7, which would have made Bob 9 or 10. We got on the bus, and I guess Bob was bored that day because he felt the need to start picking on me. Bob told me that I was, and he used that word, begins with an N, you know that word. He told me I had to go sit at the back of the bus. I'm sure I had a very clever response, something along the lines of, "No, I'm not." And he proceeded to pick on me the entire 2 or 3 mile ride home. I have this vague memory of adults being around us, and I don't know if they were really there. I don't know if they didn't hear him. I don't know if they didn't care, but nobody interfered. And I was aware enough even by this time to know not to cry there on the bus. But as soon as the bus stopped and I jumped off the bus, I am sure that I cried for the entire block and a half home, at which point I ran in the door. We came in the side door, if you remember, and what you don't remember is that back in those days there was a plastic runner on the carpet that went from the side door to the kitchen door because you weren't allowed to walk on the carpet. And I get in, and I'm sure Florence heard me crying, and she came out, and I looked at her and I said, Florence, Bob is being mean to me. He called me. And yeah, the N-word. Now, our parents did not use that word. I don't remember my daddy ever saying that word in front of me, and Lord knows Mama didn't say it in front of me. But excuse me, I was a child in the 60s in Alabama, and I knew what that word meant. And as soon as the words were out of my mouth, I knew what I had done. The look on her face was horrible. And I was just, I mean, even now, I can feel in the pit of my stomach the shame when I said that to her. So I did the only thing you could do in a 3-bedroom house with all the people that lived there. I went and locked myself in Mama's bathroom. Florence came. It took a while, but she managed to talk me out of the bathroom. She sat me on Mama's bed. She sat Bob on Mama's bed. Kitty probably was sitting there too. I have no idea. But, and once again, I don't remember the words that she said. But I know she made us understand what that word meant. And how degrading it is. And how horrible it is to use that word. And those feelings are still here. I still feel them. I must say that I've never used that word again. I wish I could tell you I never said ugly things to people and they didn't hurt their feelings, but that would be a lie. But I learned something. And I think it started me, it was the beginning of who I am. How I try very hard to put myself in somebody else's place. And I learned about words. And I learned that they not only hurt other people, and we know that, but I know how much using that word hurt me.